Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. There comes a time in your life when you've got to learn the power of silence. Not every move you make needs an announcement. Not every step forward requires a round of applause. Because the truth is, real success don't need no introduction. It speaks for itself. Silence eliminates distractions because when you stop talking and start working, you remove the unnecessary noise from your life. A lot of people spend so much time explaining what they're about to do that they never actually do it. They waste energy trying to convince others of their vision instead of putting in the work to make it real. Every time you tell somebody your plans, you open the door for their opinions, their doubts, and their negativity. You invite in criticism that you didn't need to hear in the first place. Some people will discourage you just because they don't want to see you win. Others will plant seeds of doubt, not because they mean harm, but because they can't see your vision the way you do. When you keep quiet, you don't have to fight against outside opinions. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to waste energy proving anything to anybody. You simply wake up every day and put in the work. The fewer people who know your next move, the fewer people who can interfere with it. Think about the times you've shared your dreams with the wrong people. Maybe they laughed at you. Maybe they told you it wasn't possible. Maybe they reminded you of every single thing that could go wrong. That's the kind of energy that can knock you off track if you're not careful. You start second guessing yourself. You start wondering if they're right. And before you know it, you've lost momentum. Success requires focus. You can't afford to be distracted by unnecessary conversations, by proving yourself to people who don't matter, or by defending your dreams to those who can't see your potential. The moment you stop talking and start working, you gain clarity. You stop worrying about how others perceive you and start focusing on what really matters, getting the job done. The process is never easy and it requires discipline, but silence helps you stay in control. It keeps your energy directed toward the work instead of wasting it on explanations. People who constantly announce their plans often do so because they crave validation. They want someone to tell them they're on the right path. They want applause before they've even crossed the finish line. But validation is a distraction. It makes you feel good in the moment, but it doesn't do the work for you. The real reward comes from results, not from approval. When you eliminate distractions, you also eliminate the need for constant reassurance. You learn to trust yourself, to believe in your vision, and to stay the course even when nobody else understands what you're doing. When you work in silence, you protect your momentum. You don't waste time explaining, defending, or proving. You just move forward. People may not notice at first. They may not see the small wins, the late nights, the sacrifices. But that doesn't matter because when success comes, it speaks for itself. The ones who doubted you will see it. The ones who dismissed you will have no choice but to acknowledge it. And the best part, you won't even have to say a word. Success speaks louder than words because real achievement doesn't need to be announced. It demands attention on its own. Too many people spend their time talking about what they're going to do instead of actually doing it. They want to impress others with their words, their promises, and their big ideas, but words don't create results. Hard work does. Dedication does. Consistency does. When you focus on proving yourself with actions instead of explanations, you set yourself apart from those who only talk. The truth is, people respect results. They don't respect empty promises, failed commitments, or exaggerated potential. If you say you're going to do something and never follow through, your words lose value. People stop believing in you. They stop taking you seriously. But when you deliver, when you stay focused and produce real, tangible success, people have no choice but to take notice. You don't have to convince them that you're capable. They'll see it for themselves. Think about the most successful people in the world. They didn't waste time trying to get others to believe in them. They put their heads down, they worked in silence, and they let their results do the talking. The most powerful statements in life aren't spoken, they're proven. When you achieve something great, when you build something from the ground up, when you overcome obstacles and rise to a new level, your success becomes undeniable. Talking about success too much can actually work against you. When you tell everyone your plans, you create unnecessary pressure. You set expectations that you now have to meet, and if things don't go as planned, you risk embarrassment and doubt creeping in. But when you keep quiet and focus on the work, you give yourself the freedom to adjust, to fail in private, to grow without outside judgment. That way, when your success does become visible, it's already solid. It's not based on hype, it's based on results. Another problem with talking too much about success is that it invites negativity. Not everyone wants to see you win. Some people will pretend to support you while secretly hoping you fail. Others will discourage you because your ambition reminds them of their own lack of progress. By keeping quiet and letting your success speak for itself, you protect yourself from unnecessary negativity. You avoid the opinions of people who don't matter. You move forward without the weight of their doubts on your shoulders. Success also changes the way people treat you. When you've proven yourself through action, opportunities come to you. You don't have to beg for a seat at the table. You don't have to convince people to believe in your vision. Your results do that for you. People start to respect your time, your talent, and your value. They see what you've built, what you've accomplished, and they want to be a part of it. It's easy to get caught up in the need for validation, to want people to recognize your efforts before the results are there. But real success doesn't require validation. It doesn't require permission. It simply exists, undeniable. Those who truly succeed understand that words mean little without action. They don't waste time explaining, proving, or convincing. They work, they build, they execute, and when success arrives, it speaks so loudly that no further explanation is needed. The loudest person in the room is often the weakest, because real power, real confidence, and real success don't require noise. People who constantly talk about their achievements, their plans, and their abilities are usually trying to compensate for something. They want to appear strong, they want to appear in control, but deep down, they are unsure of themselves. The strongest people don't need to prove anything to anyone. They know what they're capable of, and they let their actions speak for themselves. You can always tell who is truly successful by how they carry themselves. The ones who have nothing to prove, the ones who are genuinely confident, don't waste time talking about their accomplishments. They don't feel the need to announce every step they take because they are focused on moving forward, not on impressing others. But the ones who are always bragging, always seeking attention, always trying to convince people that they are important, those are the ones who usually haven't done much at all. When someone constantly talks about their success, it often means they are trying to convince themselves just as much as they are trying to convince others. They seek validation because deep down, they don't feel secure in what they've done. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need approval. When you know your worth, when you know your value, you don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You just keep working, and eventually the world takes notice. The people who talk the most usually have the least to show for it. Think about it. When someone is truly busy, when someone is grinding, when someone is locked in on their goals, they don't have time to talk about it. They are too busy putting in the work. They don't need to tell people they're winning because their results will say everything that needs to be said. But the ones who are always making noise, always seeking attention, are usually the ones who are struggling the most. They use words to mask their lack of progress. Talking too much can also expose your weaknesses. When you reveal too much about your plans, you open the door for doubt, criticism, and even sabotage. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some people are waiting for you to slip up. Some people will take your ideas and try to use them for themselves. The more you talk, the more you give others the chance to interfere with your progress. But when you stay quiet, when you keep your moves to yourself, you stay in control. You don't give people the opportunity to bring you down before you've even started. Real strength is about discipline. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It's about understanding that success isn't about making noise. It's about making an impact. The ones who achieve the most don't waste time trying to impress people with words. They focus on building, on growing, on improving. And when they reach the top, their success speaks so loudly that they don't have to say a word. Moving in silence keeps doubters guessing, because when people don't know your next move, they can't interfere with it. The moment you start sharing your goals, your dreams, and your plans with everyone, you invite unnecessary opinions, criticism, and negativity into your space. Not everyone will support you. Not everyone will believe in you. And some people will even try to stop you, not because they truly care about your success, but because they fear what it might mean for them. When you keep your plans to yourself, you take away the power that doubters have over you. They can't attack what they don't see. They can't criticize what they don't know. And they can't sabotage what they aren't aware of. Too many people fail before they even begin because they let the wrong voices get into their heads. They let other people's doubts become their own. They start questioning their own abilities because someone else didn't believe in them. But when you move in silence, you don't give them that chance. You don't give them the opportunity to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Doubters thrive on seeing you struggle. They love to hear you talk about your goals because it gives them something to tear down. They wait for the moment when you stumble so they can say, "I told you so." But when you keep quiet, you deny them that satisfaction. They don't know whether you're winning or losing. They don't know how far along you are, and by the time they finally see your success, it's already too late for them to stop it. People often reveal too much because they want validation, they want to be encouraged, they want to be praised, they want to feel supported, but relying on outside approval is dangerous. If your motivation depends on what others say, then their doubts will have just as much power over you as their encouragement. You have to be able to push forward even when nobody is cheering you on. You have to be able to stay committed even when nobody believes in you. That's why silence is so important. It forces you to rely on yourself instead of looking to others for reassurance. Moving in silence also makes you unpredictable. When people can't figure out your next move, they can't prepare for it. They can't set traps for you. They can't put obstacles in your way. Some people secretly compete with you, and if they know what you're working on, they'll try to get ahead of you. But when you stay quiet, they can't keep up. They don't know when you're about to take a big leap forward, so by the time they realize what's happening, you've already moved past them. It's not about being secretive just for the sake of it. It's about protecting your vision. It's about making sure that nothing interferes with your progress. It's about staying focused on the goal without letting unnecessary distractions slow you down. The less people know, the more control you have. You get to build, grow, and improve without pressure, without interference, and without outside negativity trying to shake your confidence. And when the results finally show, there's nothing left for doubters to say. Work in private, shine in public, because the foundation of success is built long before anyone ever sees it. Too many people want the spotlight before they've put in the work. They want recognition, applause, and validation before they've even proven themselves. But real success isn't created in front of an audience. It's built behind closed doors, in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. Every great achievement starts in the dark. The strongest athletes train when no one is in the stands. The most successful entrepreneurs grind before anyone knows their name. The best performers rehearse for years before they step onto the big stage. The process is lonely, difficult, and often unnoticed, but that's exactly what makes it powerful. When you work in private, you eliminate distractions. You focus purely on getting better, on improving, on mastering your craft without the noise of the outside world. The problem with seeking recognition too early is that it can become a distraction. When people know what you're working on, they start offering opinions, some good, some bad, but all unnecessary. They either praise you too soon, making you comfortable, or they doubt you, making you second guess yourself. Either way, their words pull you away from the work. When you keep things private, you protect your focus. You stay locked in on what really matters: growth, progress, and execution. There's also something powerful about unveiling success after it has been built. When you suddenly appear with undeniable results, people have no choice but to take notice. There's no room for doubt because the proof is right in front of them. But when you talk too much about what you're going to do, you give others the chance to question you, to challenge you, and to bring unnecessary negativity into your journey. People can argue with words, but they can't argue with results. Working in private also gives you the space to fail without judgment. Mistakes are a part of the process. But when you're constantly showing your work to the world, every failure becomes a public event. That pressure can make people give up too soon because they feel embarrassed when things don't go as planned. But when you keep your process to yourself, you can fail, learn, and adjust without outside interference. You get to grow without feeling like you're being watched. Some people rush to show off their progress because they want validation. They want to prove to others that they're making moves. But the truth is, seeking validation too early can be dangerous. It can make you feel like you've accomplished something when you haven't really reached your goal yet. A little bit of praise can make people slow down, thinking they've already won when in reality the real work hasn't even begun. That's why the most successful people don't waste time talking about their progress. They stay quiet, they stay committed, and they keep building until there's no denying their success. The moment you step into the spotlight, everything changes. People will have opinions. Some will support you, some will doubt you, and some will try to bring you down. But if you've done the work in private, you'll be ready for it. You won't need anyone's approval because you'll already know you put in the effort. And when success finally arrives, it will speak for itself, louder than any words ever could. Let results attract the right people because success naturally draws the attention, respect, and opportunities that talking never will. Too many people spend time chasing validation, trying to convince others of their worth, or forcing connections that aren't meant for them. But when you focus on results instead of approval, the right people will come to you, not because you ask them to, but because your success demands their attention. Real value is undeniable. When you produce something great, when you achieve something significant, people take notice. You won't have to beg for a seat at the table. You won't have to constantly prove yourself to people who don't believe in you. Your work, your achievements, and your impact will do that for you. The right people recognize effort, talent, and results. They respect what has been earned, not what has been talked about. Chasing people, trying to impress them, or forcing yourself into circles that don't appreciate you is a waste of energy. It puts you in a position where you are constantly proving yourself instead of focusing on becoming better. But when you put your energy into the work, when you commit to growth, when you dedicate yourself to mastering your craft, the right people will see that. They will recognize your dedication, your persistence, and your ability to deliver. And those are the people who matter, the ones who respect what you bring to the table, not the ones you had to convince. Many people seek validation too early. They want to be recognized before they've truly accomplished anything. They want to be accepted before they've proven their value. But respect doesn't come from potential, it comes from results. You don't gain credibility by saying what you plan to do. You gain credibility by showing what you've done. When you stop focusing on impressing people and start focusing on producing undeniable results, the right connections, opportunities, and relationships will naturally follow. People gravitate towards success, not just material success, but excellence, discipline, and mastery. When you show that you are dedicated to your craft, when you prove that you are willing to put in the effort, the right people will notice. Employers look for people who deliver results. Business partners look for people who are reliable and hardworking. Mentors look for people who are serious about learning and growing. Instead of seeking attention, work on becoming the kind of person that attracts it. Success has a way of filtering out the wrong people. When you focus on results, the ones who only wanted to hear talk will disappear. The ones who doubted you will be forced to acknowledge your growth. And the ones who truly recognize greatness will want to align with you. That's the power of results. They don't require persuasion, explanation, or convincing. They stand on their own. Too many people waste time trying to get into the right rooms, meet the right people, or gain the right connections before they've put in the necessary work. But the truth is, when you become great at what you do, the right rooms will open up, the right people will seek you out, the right opportunities will come your way. Instead of chasing approval, chase excellence. Instead of talking about success, produce it. The ones who truly matter will see it, and when they do, they'll come to you, not because you asked them to, but because your success left them with no choice. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body.